Boker Tov Lekulam, Ambassador Gold, thank you very much for your kind introduction. I'm very pleased to welcome you here on behalf of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung to this joint conference together with the Jerusalem Center. The Konrad Adenauer Stiftung is a political organization that is promoting democracy, rule of law, social market economy, human rights in Germany, but also in something like 100 countries all over the world. I'm not an expert in international law, so I'm not going to say something about that. And we have many experts here today on this topic. I want to say a little bit more general and more from a political angle, something about the topic we are dealing with today. Well, I think that Germany and countries in the European Union have a great privilege. A privilege Israel does not have. And this is that the European Union and Germany live in peaceful times since more than 60 years now. Germany is surrounded by peaceful neighbors and lives in this peaceful environment for a long time. Well, I think this is one of the reasons that there is a broad consensus in Europe that there is no military solution to political problems. But I'm also sure that this conviction is shared here in Israel, but with one major difference concerning the conclusion. In Germany and in European countries, the conclusion would be many times, if there is no military solution, so don't use military means. But in Israel, there was a broad support for military action. How to explain this? I think that people know here that even if there is no military solution, sometimes it's necessary to answer militarily. And this is, of course, related to the hostile environment, unfortunately, if Israel lives in. Sometimes you have to react militarily. Even this cannot produce long-term solutions. But having sometimes to use military force puts Israel in a very difficult situation and in many moral dilemmata, which are even more complicated in using force against non-state actors like Hamas. Since the international law, and we heard about this from Ambassador Gold, was formulated mainly for interstate conflicts, the question is if and how international law applies for this specific situation. Ambassador Gold related to this, and I'm sure we will explore it more during the conference. And since this is open to debate, the role of the international law in those kinds of conflicts, the law in particular and in its interpretation in particular becomes also oftentimes means to further the interest of the parties. The law is many times used to delegitimize Israel and its action for self-defense. While sometimes I have the feeling that many support the rights of Israel for self-defense until the moment Israel is indeed exerting and executing exactly that right. In the case of Gaza, after many years of rockets from the Gaza Strip. During the Gaza operation, the pictures of suffering in Gaza made it difficult for many abroad, and in particular also in Germany, to judge what was the very reason for the suffering. In the war of pictures, Israel was always in the defense, since there is a moral decision in Israel not to publish pictures or footage of dead people. But the compassion with the suffering people should not hide the reason for the suffering. The reason was clearly Hamas and not Israel. And Hamas did not use her role governing the Gaza Strip to further the well-being of the population, but Hamas used its power to build up its arsenal of weapons. Hamas did not take responsibility for the civil population. On the contrary, Hamas made cynical use of civilians during the Gaza operation. And yesterday, when I prepared for this conference again, I found this little card that was sent by mail during the Gaza operation. It is actually showing a map of Israel, and here you can see with different colors how long it takes until a rocket fired from either the north or from the Gaza Strip takes to hit Israeli territory, and you can see that sometimes it's 60 seconds or 15 seconds or in this range. And this reminded me on the different use or the different treatment of the civil population in Israel, where there was high responsibility, and the cynical use, on the other hand, of Hamas using the civil population in the Gaza Strip. Again, the reason for the casualties was, in the end, Hamas. I therefore would like to remind you also on the clear position Angela Merkel took when she commented in the first days of the operation. And she said, nobody should mix up the cause and effect of the situation. Israel is facing big challenges, military, moral, but also legal. I hope that our conference can contribute to make it clearer how Israel can cope in particular with the challenges terrorist organizations like Hamas pose for Israel also in the legal field. And, by the way, I think that it's a challenge not only Israel has to deal with, dealing with non-state military actors. I believe we will get more and more also a debate in Germany and also Europe, since Germany sends troops to Afghanistan to fight terror groups there and find herself sometimes in similar dilemmata as well. This conference therefore might also serve as a starting point for a dialogue between Israel and Germany about how to combat terror groups and to adhere to international standards in warfare. I would like to conclude with thanks to the Ambassador Gold for the long-standing partnership we share. We value this cooperation very highly. I would like to thank also the Center in particular for the good cooperation in preparing this conference, and I wish all of us an interesting day of deliberations and discussions. Thank you very much.